The final example that I'd like to look at for quadratic trinomials is this one here. 12x squared minus 14x minus 6. And again, when we're factorising expressions, I said right at the beginning that we should always try to find a highest common factor before we do anything else. And this problem is an example where our life is going to be a lot more difficult if we don't look for that highest common factor. If I just went right ahead here, I'd be going 12 times negative 6, which of course is 72. In fact, it should be a negative 72. And looking for two numbers that add to give negative 14. This is a big number and it's going to be hard to find the factors that I need. However, if on the first step I look at this and I go, hey, all of these coefficients are divisible by 2, I can actually pull that out the front. I should put an equal sign here to say they're equivalent. These numbers have suddenly gotten a lot smaller. I'm only dealing with 6 and 3. 3 6s are 18 instead of 72. So that makes my life easier just by simply looking for a highest common factor to pull out. So looking at 6 times negative 3, we said that's negative 18. We've got a multiply to give. We've got to add to give the coefficient of the x. Now we've got to start thinking about what numbers we could possibly have here. What numbers multiply to give 18? Well, we've already worked out that 3 and 6 multiply to give 18. What other options are there? Well, there's also 9 and 2. Now, two things are multiplying to give a negative. That tells us that one of them is positive and one of them is negative. They're adding to give a negative, so the larger number has to be the negative. So looking at our options here, okay, I could look at this pair, 3 and 6, and put a negative sign on one of them. Well, 6 and 3, if I had negative 6 plus 3, that's going to be negative 3. If I had negative 3 plus 6, that's going to be positive 3. It's not giving me my required negative 7. So this is not the one that we're looking for. Thinking about this one, 9 and 2, well, if I made the 9 negative and the 2's positive, those are going to multiply to give negative 18, and they're going to add to give negative 7. So these are going to be the ones that I'm interested in. Now again, I've got my tunnel vision on. I'm just concentrating on the middle here, leaving the 2 and the brackets outside. I'm going to split the negative 7x into negative 9 and positive 2x. So minus 9x plus 2x minus 3. And again, as I was before, I'm going to be grouping these in pairs. Looking at this one here, the highest common factor is going to be 3x. And the highest common factor for this one is just going to be 1. There's nothing that I can pull out apart from that. And finally, leaving this 2 again out the front, these two terms each have a 2x minus 3 in them. So we can pull that 2x minus 3. Oh, I forgot my x there. Can pull that 2x minus 3 out the front, and in the brackets I'm going to have this 3x plus this 1. And we've seen questions like this before. We said that we actually don't need this outer set of brackets at all. I'll just write it a bit neater without all the gaps in there. It's 2 outside of 2x minus 3, 3x plus 1. And this is now fully factorised.